Welcome in, everyone. Another edition of Training Ground Dispatch. One of the few last ones, especially as we have the last home match of the 2025 season approaching us on Saturday as Atlanta United hosts DC United. Madison Cruz alongside Jason Longshore here on the SDH Network. We're going to get you everything you need to know from what happened at training today, but a big thing that happened today as well, as it was announced that Brad Guzan will be retiring from professional soccer this week, and his last match will be Saturday for the Five Stripes.
And we found out he's going to start on Saturday as well. It's going to be an emotional day at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and it's just a weird day to begin with the season ending on Saturday, with it being a decision day that doesn't mean anything in terms of the standings and playoff picture and any of that. It's never happened before for Atlanta United. So this adds another level of, I think, weirdness to everything. I had a chance to watch some of his training session today. You're going to get a chance to hear some of our favorite clips from his media availability today, and let's go ahead and roll those.
For starters, just thank you for everything that you've done for the club and for the city as well. Talking to Jonathan Ransom yesterday, talked highly about you, a player that he looks up to you, especially as a keeper. For you, how important is it to give advice, to be someone that a lot of these young keepers within the club can look up to?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been fortunate throughout my career to have senior goalkeepers, senior players to ask questions to, soak up as much information as possible, just be a sponge really in every sense of the word. And, as you get older, you start to see that and listen, at some point, right, you're not always going to play. You're not going to play forever. And at some point, you end up having to pass that baton on. And you want to be the guy that can be helpful and can help, younger pros, one, find their feet, but then two, try and help them break in and say, right, I'm gonna make a career out of this. I'm gonna make a living out of this. And, when you look at the young goalkeepers that we have, when you look at someone like Jono in terms of not only himself as an individual, but his family, his parents, and then what he brings on the field as a competitor, it's encouraging for someone like myself to see how he approaches training, how he approaches the game. And when, as a senior player, you see someone like that coming through, it's exciting because to be 17 and be where he's at. I mean, I was nowhere near that in terms of readiness, in terms of being in an environment like we have here. And, I tip my hat to all of our young pros that are just starting their journey. And what I would say to myself, going back to 2005 and being drafted, and I still remember on draft day, not knowing where Chivas USA was even located. I was just excited to be a professional. I was excited to hear my name called in the draft. And it was a moment that will live on in my memory forever. And what I would say to myself is just continue to chase your dreams. I wasn't supposed to make it. I was never in the youth national team setup. I was never one of the top guys. It was by perseverance. It was by hard work. It was determination. It was listening. It was all the things that you need as a pro to hopefully get your foot in the door, and a lot of luck that came with it. And it was a moment that allowed me to approach the door, and with all those things I mentioned, I was able to kick that door down and walk through, and here I am 21 years later. I think I saw a picture the other day from probably under 7, under 8, back in my hometown of Homer Glen. As my wife mentioned, David Beckham obviously reaching out, it's and everyone in between, and it's certainly exciting. It's cool to have that recognition. I'm very appreciative of that, but it was always for me about how do you approach the game, how do you make your teammates better, how do you make the team better, and it was never about kind of the outside noises. you guys know I've always given you guys a hard time. But it was never about kind of what was on the outside. It was always inside those four walls of the locker room. Yeah, I mean, when I first got to Chivas, there's a goalkeeper legend down in Mexico, Martin Zuniga, someone I still speak to today. He calls MLS game for Apple and someone that I call a friend. And then obviously I left Chivas and went to Aston Villa, and when I was at Villa, I had Brad Friedel. And so then, I'm starting to break in with the national team, and, he's older than me for sure, but not too far, but someone like Timmy. And these are all guys that I call friends to this day. I still speak to them, and I'm grateful for their support. I'm grateful for their guidance when I was coming through, because it's not always easy. And I've also seen the other side of it where guys weren't like that towards younger players, and I've seen how that affects younger players, and you never want to be that guy. We can't affect what's happened in the past, and all we can affect is what happens on Saturday and how we approach Saturday. And it's not going to mean a whole lot, but at the same time, we've got fans, we've got supporters, and we owe our best to them. Because they have stood with us throughout this season, and we owe our best to them. And so tomorrow is a chance to prepare for Saturday in the right way, and that's what we're going to look to do. So as much as I'd like to score a hat trick or a bicycle kick, I don't know if my body would allow that. It's back to business, and we need to try and prepare for Saturday, because on Saturday, there might be one kid who this is their first time at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and their first time going to see Atlanta United, and we want to leave an impression on that one person that, hey, I want to come back and I like watching Atlanta United, and now I want to become a lifelong fan, and that's our responsibility as players, as a team, and as a club. And so for me, as I look back and how do I want to be remembered, it's a fierce competitor, someone that could be counted on, but also somebody that was able to put a few smiles on people's faces off the field as well.
Yeah, you were really involved in the community elements with the club too, not only just at events, but also ambassador for the unified team too. For you, how important was it to be so involved with the club, not only for the stuff on the pitch, but also off of it, in the community, with the fans, with every other team associated too? Yeah,
I think when you look back at Atlanta United, right, and in terms of the support, and I remember watching games in England for the first, couple months before I came, and I was thinking, man, the atmosphere, the stadium, just everything that is about Atlanta United, those first couple months, I was like, that's something I want to be a part of. I can't wait to get there in the summer, and it's going to be amazing. But with that, right, we're all trying to build something, and with that build comes the unified team, comes the support from the community, and you need to be able to develop those relationships, and whether it's the fans to the team or the team to the fans, and it goes both ways. I've always said that, and so for me, when I was coming in, the unified team is something that I was and still am very passionate about, because I've got a soft spot for kids, and anything involving kids is something that certainly touches my heart. And my wife always reminds me that, you don't know the impact that you can have on somebody just from a picture, an autograph, saying hello. And you always want to remember that in terms of the platform, as I talked about. But the unified team and just the community in general, showing their support for Atlanta United and the club from the early days. And listen, nobody knew what to expect, because it was new for everyone. And it was the community, it was the fans, it was the supporters that made Atlanta United what it is. And we're just individuals that are going to come and go, but it's the supporters that will be here forever.
Are you going to join us as a third analyst on the Unified?
Yeah, absolutely. When I'm not doing assistant coaching, so.
I know for me, it's weird, Because being a fan, being a founding member, being someone who watched Brad, as a fan and enjoyed it, and remember, chanting "Goose" every single time as well, and also a chant that I don't think I can say on here, else we'd get explicit. But you understand what I mean when I say that. But I remember being there. I remember taking photos with him in fan lines, and now being a part of the media, being someone who has gotten to know Brad over the last couple of years too. It's bittersweet, and it's a feeling that it's one where, you're upset that it's ending, but you're also really excited for what the future is going to hold, because wherever Brad Guzan's going to go, he's going to be successful no matter what.
Yeah, and what he does next is going to be an interesting story because, he could go so many different directions and be successful. He could do broadcast, which is probably what he's going to end up doing.
He's kind of already teased it. Listen, hey. So we teased it. I said on the Unified calls, we need a third analyst. Are you in? And he said, yeah. He said yes. So I think it's a given.
Well,
it's a yes.
Go. That's an exclusive, I guess.
Exclusive.
No, he's going to do anything, and he's going to be successsul in it. He could be a great manager if he wants to do that. He could be a great sporting director. He could get involved in scouting, player acquisition. Could he be an agent for play? He could do anything he wants. That's the kind of person we're talking about. But what stood out to me this week, as people have reflected on his career, has been how much of a legacy he's left. And that's not always in your control if you get to leave a legacy where you've worked for a long time, where you've tried to do a lot of good things. Brad has done so many things in the community that you've heard about and so many things that you haven't heard about. He's done so much with the Unified team that we've had a chance to see firsthand. He has done so much to make Atlanta United a better club, and he's done so much to make Atlanta a better city. And for that to be, I think, recognized and understood this week has been the coolest thing about it. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure he's seen and felt and heard that. And I hope that he has. And I hope that when the final whistle comes for him on Saturday, that he's able to truly look back and feel like it was a job well done. Because his name, that number, his legacy is going to live on in this place forever. He's to me, and I said it this week, I think he is the most important player to ever wear the crest with everything that he's done. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be sad when that final whistle comes, not just because of the way this season has gone, but it's the last time we're going to see Brad in the Atlanta United crest as a player.
Well, we're going to have all the coverage for you, not only on the SDH network, but on 92.9 The Game, because pregame coverage is going to start at 5 p.m. with myself and Abe Gordon. We'll get you ready for the matchup, and we'll reminisce a little bit on Brad Guzan and his career and his legacy with Atlanta United as well. You're going to get pretty annoyed of me and Abe yapping about all of that before we toss it over to the voices of Atlanta United and Mike Conti and Jason Longshore, because there is so much to talk about, even though it's a bittersweet way to end the season, especially with the way things went, but it's also a time to reflect and a time to embrace and to encourage and talk about everything that Brad Guzan has done for this club. So we're going to have all that coverage for you, not only on 92.9, but also right here on the SDH network. So make sure you're following us on all of our social medias.